Hey, it's Chris. Controversial legacy on crowdfunding. Yeah, I'm going to go there because it's one of the top games of this week. It has the potential to be one of the top games of the month easily. So we have to dive into it, talking about it, all things legacy on crowdfunding using Clank, Acquisitions Incorporated, Season 2, Version 2, 2.0, whatever you want to call it, on May 2. Let's talk. Let's go. Top 3 that you need to know about this week. That included. So let's talk about Clank Legacy. Let's talk about Legacy in general, right? The last big Legacy game we saw in crowdfunding was Jurassic World Legacy. And to be frank, that was sort of rather lacklusterly disappointing. I'm a big fan of what Penny Arcade has put out. Like, I've followed them for probably like 15 years online. I would love to go to one of the PAX Expos. They are, Mike and Jerry, two guys that I would absolutely love to share a gaming table with. Like, if you asked me to rank my top 5 people within the community, like, they would be in that top 5. I think it's that cool. I would love to do the Omni Gamer thing where they have people play like 8 or 10 different games and like try and score all of them across the board, and whoever does the best across the board wins. That is like my ideal thing. Other Penny Arcade affiliated board games, apart from the original Clank Legacy, have been pretty lackluster. Thornwatch, anyone? Yeah, right? But this one, has a good pedigree. There are a fair number of people that say that this is their favorite Legacy game out there. And that is not insignificant. And Direwolf, I trust Direwolf. It's just... And crowdfunding is where the problem is. Because like I said with Jurassic World, the exclusives, what are you going to offer that's going to entice people to get it on crowdfunding? I say that as an avid crowdfunding supporter and a small publisher supporter and a medium publisher supporter and a large publisher supporter. Large being in quotations because there aren't really any large ones if you're really looking at it, really. But I just don't know. Now, if you're a solo gamer, scratch this one off your list. 2 to 4 players. I'm guessing it's going to be just like the original. Legacy games are meant to be played cooperatively. I'm sorry, you can't play everything solo. It's okay. It's okay. You can go get your Hoplomachus and that ilk, right? But this is going to be an interesting test of the market. Is it going to be cheaper? I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be cheaper than Legacy 1. I can't imagine that they're going to try anything but it's going to be cheaper online to get it. The other one we saw, the other more recent one than even Jurassic World, was Queen's Dilemma. And they either went big exclusive, which also meant huge bling price point. That was a big turnoff as well. They had to redo the pledge levels in the middle of the campaign because they were kind of like, oh crap, people aren't liking this as much. And don't get me wrong, they still raised hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s. But they changed it in the middle for a reason, because there was an overwhelming feedback that this was not what people wanted as well. So take that for what you will. I mean, squeaky wheel gets the grease, but the tiny squeaky wheel, let's be clear, also as much as those people on crowdfunding comments, which again is a whole toxic subsection of a video in and of itself, those people also don't get appeased. Has to be relatively significant to actually get that. And again, Acquisitions Incorporated suits it. You're not going to carry stuff over from one. This is going to be Pandemic Legacy 1, Pandemic Legacy 2, right? Completely separate games. Are you going to prefer one over the other? Is there going to be a recommendation in the future of getting one over the other? You can't add too much new stuff. I mean, like we saw with Monster Hunter World, which we're talking about later this month, Monster Hunter World is saying, okay, it's not going to be better because you don't want people not to buy the first one, right? But you want to be able to entice either or even better, both. How much are we going to dive into the Acquisitions Incorporated lore? How much are we going to dive into that world? How much is it going to be D&D world affiliated? I mean, are we going to see Aelfell? I mean, that's what I want to see. Give me a Will Wheaton guest appearance on this crowdfunding campaign, right? But when I looked it up on Board Game Oracle while doing this video, the lowest price on Board Game Oracle right now is $75 for season 1. Now, I've seen people selling it. Amazon has had a couple times for $50. I've seen it retail routinely more, even around $100 when it came out. So it's gone down significantly. That's a 30% reduction in price, if you will. But that's going to be the question. Are you willing to pay triple digits for a Legacy game? Legacy games, even more so than the rest of this, are harder to get to the table, because I have people also in the comment section saying it's taking them up to, I mean, that's probably more of the outlier, but up to an hour per player per session. That's intense. Even for a Legacy game, even for, someone willing to commit time, that's a huge chunk of time. 10, 12 sessions. What are you talking there as well? Reset pack, little add-ons. What are we looking at? No idea, no clue, but that is clearly number one. I have my eye on it. Like I mentioned, I can't help but be a fanboy, so I'd be lying to you if I wasn't heavily looking at this one, but there's going to be incentive as someone who hasn't even played the first one as well. So take that for what you will. Next up, number 2. This one came out of nowhere. I just saw this one from Indie Boards and Cards. This is the sequel standalone expansion. This is War Eternal for Aeons End, right? No, this is Astro Eternity, right? Same thing. We're seeing the same exact pattern here. This is a 1 to 4 player standalone expansion, cooperative deck building with several different scenarios with an ongoing, apparently, narrative in addition. So a little bit of Aeons End, a little bit of asymmetry there, a little bit of divergence in the semi-scenario campaign-ish. I don't know. You know, it's going to be interesting. Is it superior? I have no idea. I've been debating about picking up a copy. I passed it on the first time. The sci-fi-esque Steven's Universe vibe it gives me just doesn't appeal as much. And I have too much Aeons End. I say that as someone who's literally waiting for the last Kickstarter to arrive as well at this time. So did it do as good as the last Aeons End? No, it didn't. Is it going to pick up some steam? We're going to see. How much new stuff is it going to add? Is it better than, say, a revision of Sentinels of the Multiverse, the definitive edition? Because that's kind of what it feels like. It's, you know, better-ish, kinda, maybe. What side of the fence do you want to fall on? Because especially, I think I have a lot of people like me that are going, I don't really need more of it, even if it is slightly better, even if it is 5 to 10% better. What's going to be the incentive? Indie Board and Cards does do some exclusives, not really a ton though anymore. They've really gotten away from that. They offer you essentially a little expansion or 2 add-ons for the stretch goals that are going to be bundled separately at retail. So that's kind of what they've got going on here. I mean, the big advantages of this is, if you're not familiar with this versus the original Aeons End, each boss has its own deck, no mixing and matching, taking out some of the overhead. The market is changing. You have 6 different market decks, but after you buy something, something else is new there. It's going to be shorter gameplay length overall. The other, instead of just defending a main base Gravehold that you're doing in every single game, Gravehold, this generic hit point blob protoplasm mass that could be a generic homeworld name by any other name, you have asymmetric homeworlds that are powered up. They have asymmetric amounts of hit points that are going to be available not only in the base game, but the expansion. So I'm assuming this is going to be something different. But again, it sort of reminds me of Aeons End, very similar in the path. Because if you ask people who are going into Aeons End, they say, okay, what Aeons End should I pick up? Everyone says almost routinely, War Eternal. Don't get the original, get War Eternal, right? And is this going to be it? And that's part of the reason people like me passed. That's part of the reason you have some people passing on things like Cloudspire, because they've also seen similar from Chip Theory, where the next crowdfunding campaign is a 2.0 that addresses significant errata and upgrades. So again, I am the prime market for this game as well, but I have too much of the other. And unless you can convince me that this is head and shoulders above that, it's got an 8.0 rating on Board Game Geek, which is great, but it's only got 300 ratings as well. So it's definitely niche within niche. It's launching on the 2nd as well, though. So we'll see how it goes head-to-head fares. There you go. Last up here, 3rd, also launching on the 2nd, is Wishland, the Wishland Expansion. This is a worker placement Euro game. You're managing a theme park. I mean, relatively straightforward. Many rounds, gathering your cards, creating your board, creating your park thematic incorporation. And you've got your 7 rounds. You've got your 5 different types of cards. You know, your restaurants, your rides, your hotels, your mascots, and your actors. So additional things that are going to go all different layers of how the park is going to interact, a la your Euro mechanisms. This expansion is going to offer just a little bit more. Now, obviously, you have some achievement tiles that are going to go along with that as well to give you asymmetric victory point goals, conditions, objectives, that sort of thing. The expansion apparently is going to be offering a 5th player. It's going to be offering a new type of, you know, ride, tile, character, whatever it may be, to give you 6 now. New perks, new achievement tiles, and whatever upgrades to the base game means, as well as new entrepreneurs that are going to be potentially investing. Again, I'm going to guess that's the new element that they're going with. It's got a 7.3 on Board Game Geek. I think it got Dice Tower approved originally. So not like Seal of Excellence, but Seal of Approval. So we'll kind of see. I don't really know what to make of this one. It's another one that, you know, personally speaking, I kind of like the tableau action management of the card style of Unfair personally better. But for you Euro gamers, this one may be more appealing because it may have less tactician and take that and more of a long-term strategy. So that's also launching on the 2nd. Then what do we have? Well, you know, I still haven't heard from the winners from last week. So if I don't get hearing from winners, you know, on the Uprising Curse of the Last Emperor, I'm just going to put out another video and maybe we'll do a whole new drawing. I don't know. What does it take to actually get people to claim? I'm going to do this every Saturday until somebody freaking claims it. So if I don't have it soon, I'll put out a separate video. But again, I stand by that. If you're not watching the videos that say, okay, this is going to have the giveaway winner and it's not going to be shouted and solely done from that aspect, you know what? I guess maybe you didn't really want, you know, $200 in games, right? Anyway, what else do you need to know? What else is going on? I am starting a new project. I'm starting a new side project. Spoilers, 100 games, 100 days. Recording them all separately. Gonna mash them all together at the end. It's gonna be a crazy experiment. How do I feel at the end of it? What did I play? How did I feel about them? Ranking them as well, probably just a combination of that. What did I get played this week? Well, you know what? I've got 2 prototypes sitting next to me right here, right? The 2 that I've talked about, right? Here you go. Endeavor, Deep Sea. It's freaking sweet. Review impressions coming out soon. Haven't videoed that one though. Recorded that one. So that one will be coming. The issue is that I only have 2 of the scenarios. So that's going to be a little bit of a variable point that I'll talk about on the video itself. And then if I can one hand this one, Weirdwood Manor. If I told you right now that Weirdwood Manor was heavier than Deep Sea, I think you'd be surprised, wouldn't you? I was. This was a harder rule book. This is a more complicated game. This is heavier and longer than Endeavor Deep Sea was, which, you know, again, nothing wrong with that. But if you had asked me initially which I thought was going to be, I would have looked at Endeavor and said, man, that is outside my wheelhouse. Cooperative asymmetric pandemic style ice games. I mean, that is just smooth sailing, baby. But no, I mean, Endeavor was nice. Can I mention the fact that Endeavor is like 6 rounds and it's freaking self-contained and just smooth mechanistically? Yeah, I can, because it's that good. Also, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Depends on how much editing I can get done. I have filmed my top 10 games of 2022, folks. I thought I edited and I thought I had uploaded. I was trying to like do it for this past Thursday. Pulled it up. It's like a quarter edited. Like, you idiot, Chris. So I need to get that edited this weekend. Also, I will have my Board Game Geek Awards predictions because I've got a few spicy things to talk about that go along with that. There'll be a new news video. I have about 3 or 4 other reviews that are just sitting in the queue in between this other time stuff that has to get out there. I got the Biohack game from Uchiba Koya, the maker of Aqua Garden and Ostia. I have his prototype, but that's not going until June, so that won't be out for a while. I just got another prototype in the mail too. I'm just completely blanking on what it was. Well, it'll come to me later. Played a little Marvel United today with the kids. Yeah, I just have a couple other rants, rambles, and raves. A little Kickstarter crowdfunding red flag video. A few advice videos that we're going to do. And I'm going to revamp a couple guides to collection games. What do you need to know about them? Which ones should you pick up? Which ones should you avoid? You know, just speaking of the Aeons End, Astro Knights realm of things, the 2-player duelers, this or that. We're going to be doing some more of that too in the future. So, too much time, actually. I have more topical videos that I want to cover now, and I just don't have enough time to film, which is sort of the opposite. I usually was, you know, catching up on all the ideas I had, and now I'm actually getting creative, and I just don't have enough time to film them. So, freaking there you go. That's how it goes. 7,300, 2,700 more. We got 7 months. We got 6 months. It's possible. That's all I got. Stay classy. Freaking have a great weekend. Be cool, Scooby-Doo. That's all I got. I got nothing else. Kids' soccer game is tomorrow morning. It's a 9 a.m. soccer game. It's a little early. Not early in that way, but it's early in the sense that like we usually like to work out in the mornings, on the weekends, especially on Saturdays. Before we go do anything else. And it's just 9 a.m. is a little too early. Like I have to get up and like work out at like 7 or 7:30 in order to get it done. And so it's going to be like 50-50 on whether it's before working out the soccer game or after the soccer game, which is, it's fine. But I hate coming back afterwards and still having that hang over my head on like a Saturday. So we'll see. We have no other plans. I guess it's supposed to rain here, and whatever comes with that, right? It's Michigan. So get some stuff played. That was the prototype that came. The new version of Mindbug, one of the new decks from Mindbug. That one came as well. So, yeah. Tune in tomorrow or Monday, though. That's the other video I forgot to mention. The month of May. Holy freaking top 5 or 6 games of month of May. It's freaking huge. Let's go. Peace out.